Thank you everybody for joining. As for our weekly call, what we're going to do is basically go through in about 30 minutes of the main. We're going to talk about the main news happening in the Italian startup ecosystem. And as you know, we're going to do it in English because we want to have it available for non-Italian speakers. This session is available also on YouTube and Spotify. And the idea is really to keep it going every week on a weekly basis, quickly run through the big news with Nicolò. Nicolò has been following all the main headlines for forever, pretty much. And we thought it was good to sort of comment and go with the flow a little bit and have a little discussion. Something short and sweet and very interesting. So with this premise, let's start from a case that you know really well. I know you know really well, of course, it's Kabit. So let's start with that, Nico.
Yeah, thank you, Jack. Thank you for, again, hosting this session. It's great having you in this conversation. It was a pretty good week. Let me start from, 30,000 feet. From a rapid calculation, startups related to Italy, let's say so, and we'll discover more later, this week announced more than 30 million euros of funds raised in equity and debt, which is quite a good amount, I'd say. On average, Series A rounds in terms of size. The first one, as you said, is close to my heart, is Kabit. And Kabit is one of the first portfolio companies from Primo Ventures, the fund I work with. I basically saw these kids starting their company, their product, and now look at them. They managed to kickstart their distributed cloud network. And they raised 7 million right now. They just announced the round to further develop the product and distribute the network. So basically, what they do is they developed a pure peer-to-peer cloud storage provider service. So no data center. Think Dropbox, but with no data center. And they're going to start from there in building a new internet, in a sense, if they manage. But they're doing great. And if you, as a bonus, if you follow the link in the newsletter, they have a discount for anybody who wants to purchase a Kabit cell, their storage unit that you can install in your house. So if anybody wants,
Awesome.
Sign up to the newsletter and follow the link to the news.
Fantastic. And so let's talk a little more about the business case, just because you have a deeper knowledge. I think it would be interesting to see exactly what is their positioning and why is it a unique perspective on that. I think that's a really good, it's a good way to sort of characterize the deal in the business. And why do you think this has like a specific edge above other providers?
Well, basically, there are two big value propositions. So the first one is that in setting up a distributed pure peer-to-peer cloud storage and cloud services operation, since there is no data center, there is no fixed cost of maintaining a data center, and there is no centralized place where all your data is stored. So it's safer, more secure, and they set up the infrastructure so that there is a zero knowledge principle in the management of, for example, the encryption keys. So only the owners of the data can actually read and access the data. Okay. So, and secondly, having no fixed cost, a fixed data center, all the operations related to the data center is also a greener product. Right. So it is environmentally more sustainable. So these are the two basic initial parts of the value proposition. Secondly, if you think about this at scale, and the idea is everybody in their houses or every company in the places, they might have something related to Kabit. So a Kabit cell, storage unit, a computation device with Kabit in it, That means that basically you can develop an extremely powerful content delivery network, which is extremely close and next to the user. So another very interesting use case. So that for data to be exactly where you want it to be the moment the customer requires it. So also an optimization in terms of networking and lag time and latency and so on and so forth.
So in a sense,
please, Giacomo.
Yeah, in a sense, peer-to-peer is back. I mean, I remember the first time when the file sharing sort of wave hit the internet, and then it was like a big gray area, and then it became really popular. And then we kind of lost it a little bit, even though the hardcore people underground kind of still use the peer-to-peer. This is a way to make it actually legit in a safer way, decentralized and encrypted. So probably that's a very interesting way to conceive here.
Yeah, exactly. And with a user experience that we are all used to right now with Dropbox and Google Cloud and so on and so forth. So absolutely right.
Awesome, thank you, Nico. Let's move on. I don't want Kabi to hijack the conversation, but it's good. I have more question about the raise, but we can talk about it. All right, let's maybe run through the other deals. We've seen a lot of actually e-commerce deals getting good funding amount. So ShippyPro, Lampoo, Senso, and Passione. So all in the same sort of marketplace space. So let's start in order, maybe about ShippyPro. If you want to comment on this one?
ShippyPro is one of the international rounds that are starting to happen right now in Italy, and it is very good. Again, in the Florence area, the same area where Commerce Layer raised 2 different rounds from international investors. So probably there is something going on in Florence. And in the e-commerce space, because again, Commerce Layer was an API first engine for e-commerce, and ShippyPro is a shipping automation service, which I think they're doing well. They raised,
and it's verticalized, so they are like basically platform agnostic. It works with Shopify, it works with other sort of e-commerce platforms, and they verticalize their services on the shipment, the tracking of the package, and then eventually the recollection if needed.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So this is a service. This is probably a classic chore of e-commerce. So handling the physical packages. So knowing where they are, managing the return, all the process around the shipments. So it's good to know that there's an Italian company that's going well and raising interesting international capital in this vertical. It's quite a big market if you think about it, and growing fast.
Oh, for sure. I mean, everybody has some e-commerce. Every kind of business has been touched by e-commerce, and the fact of having this guy working a very, very specific part of the flow of shipment, that's a very cool, interesting sort of tiny problem to solve, but with a huge impact. Because again, if it's a pain, and that's the kind of the trickiest part, to get the tracking right and all the data correct to the customer. That's definitely something it's interesting to do.
Yeah, I agree. And probably we should start thinking about not about e-commerce and retailing anymore. That's and the retailing will be digital.
Interesting.
Eventually. Interesting. In all of its parts. So this is again another proof that this is happening.
It's a mind shift. I mean, retail is actually being expressed in different ways. So physical retail, classic, and then it's digital, and it's obvious that it's going to be awesome. So the other ones are Lampoo, for example, is a Milan-based fashion company. It's a marketplace, very, very focused on fashion in general. So different, I believe it's multi-brand. So if you want to tell us more maybe about the model or how do you see the company?
It's a fashion consignment marketplace. Yep. Apologies, I don't know the right accent of the word. Which means that they are doing second hands. That's refurbished fashion. premium, and they're basically they're a clone of the Real, which is a listed company in the US. I was looking yesterday, the other days I was editing the issue. It has a 1.6 billion of market cap, the Real. And they're basically the same model.
Very interesting. And do you think that Italy is ready for second-hand fashion? I've seen projects trying to push it. I think there is an appeal, definitely for like younger generation, refashion in general, and having a bigger impact in terms of ecosystem, reusable objects, and so on and so forth. How do you see the market in that space?
Well, I don't know where we stand with respect to this type of market. Even though I believe that even if we are not in line with our English and American counterparts, we're going to catch up soon. And I also believe that brands are watching. So this is probably. I was looking at some data about the second-hand fashion market in general. It's probably a potential multiple of the fashion market direct to consumers, to the first-hand market. So this is probably something that we will see explode in the next few years. And recent operations, think I don't know, the Pop, for example. They're proof that there's a lot of interest there.
Awesome. Very cool. Let's talk maybe about vertical e-commerce platform like Passione. They got a very interesting round. Not too big, I would say, maybe a pre-series A, like a late seed sort of round. And it's interesting because it's verticalized in cycling and biking. So that's good. That's definitely something interesting, and especially the post-COVID era where people are getting in shape because they've been doing this for the past year, and that's the only thing they could do. So I'm sure there is traction there, and it's something that someone would have nailed it.
Yeah, I agree with you. So it is interesting that many direct-to-consumer brands tend to be verticals, such as this one. And when you look at the vertical, you find out that it's not that small. So it's vertical, but not niche. And cycling, if you add outdoor cycling and indoor cycling, it's probably quite a sizable market.
Massive.
And I'm not sure about the round they raised, because they've got an official announcement saying that they raised so far 7 million euros altogether. And I found news about previous fundings amounting to around 3 million. So I just imagine that would be that will make this round a 4 million one, but I don't know. I'm just speculating here.
Interesting. Awesome. And I think the big question that is gonna, need to be asked is whether we would have better brands doing better e-commerce or big containers, multi-brand that are gonna dominate the digital space. Which way is gonna go? Is it the brand that are gonna be really good in retail, in digital, or platform and marketplaces like this are gonna dominate digital with a list of brands that can actually, help out inventory and so on. So maybe both, probably.
Maybe both. That's a great question. I don't know. For sure, there will be always vertical niches where production, design, attention to the detail will be the key selling point. And there will be markets where, horizontal platform will reign supreme on the market. So
Totally.
In the case, it's about brand identity, the type of service, the attention to the product. In the other case, it's just pure distribution. So if you are able to take a position on the market, then you will be the leader or one of the leaders there.
Fantastic.
Hard to tell.
So, I wanted to run to the end of your newsletter because I have there are two very interesting events. But if you want to go back some other rays, let's do that. So I was thinking about talking about Eneatech and what is happening with these guys. I mean, they started, they made the announcement, and then it seemed that they stopped. Like what is the situation?
It's complicated. I've got friends in Eneatech, so I mean I know it's very complicated. But from the news, just to make a quick recap for anybody who's not up to speed, about a little bit more than 1 year ago, the Italian government announced this foundation, Eneatech, with €500 million of capital available to invest in 4 verticals in the startup space: deep tech, IT, climate tech, and life sciences, let's say so. And they set up operations, they hired people, they set up quite a good team with high-profile team members. And then the government changed. The network of relationships changed, and a new proposal was passed in order to switch the orientation and the goal of the foundation to investing into biotech mainly. Probably, I would say, actually not probably, it was quite quite clearly stated, to invest in infrastructure for producing vaccines.
Right.
And I would say probably with a specific name in their heads, which a company that currently in Italy has a vaccine already in phase 2 and needing money to enter the phase 3 of the vaccine for COVID, ready to enter stage 3. So long story. Then the startup community basically set up a revolt against the change of course, because there were startups ready to sign a term sheet and to raise funding from the foundation before the government changed orientation. What happened next? After a few weeks, months of negotiation, it seems that they came up with a new proposal where the parliament is probably going to allow the foundation to invest €250 million in the original verticals, the deep tech, IT, climate tech, and so on and so forth, and to invest €400 million in the specific vertical of life science, in biotech, let's say so. So basically, they extended the amount of capital under management of the foundation.
Cool.
This information comes from a public post on LinkedIn by a member of the Italian Parliament, Luca Carabetta, who follows a lot of things about startups and technology. So let's see what comes out of it. I mean, the key point is that there's €500 million on the table, and in the foundation that can be managed, let's say so. So a lot of interest is floating around the foundation. So it's an easy prey of lobbying, and that's very.
But the investment thesis was specifically for COVID-related projects, or it was mostly like a wider spectrum, Italian biotech in general?
It was positioned as focused on biotech, and in particular about the infrastructure required to produce vaccines.
I see.
So basically, to invest more in the production facilities in Italy.
Yeah, got it.
Which is probably going to happen anyway if this proposal goes forward.
So let's see what's going to happen. Maybe next week we'll talk about this again. Awesome. So another very interesting news that you mentioned is about the fintech sandbox that Italy is trying to push.
Oh, well, this is good news for anybody who's launching a fintech or insurtech company. And basically, on the 17th of July, it will be possible to apply for the fintech sandbox and to operate with looser rules within the Italian market. That's so. We should help fintech startups in testing the products, their solutions on the market.
I see.
It doesn't mean it will be fast, but I mean, at least there's an open window with the Bank of Italy in order to come up with new, better regulation regarding new products and services.
Nice. And do they have specific like industries in the fintech space, like for example, blockchain, financial product, money management, or is just sort of a decree that is telling how exactly they will essentially come up with easier rule on the fintech space? What is the take there?
Well, I'm not sure because I haven't had the opportunity to read the decree, but from what I've read and heard, it should be quite general in the fintech space.
Interesting.
Then probably, but again, I highly suggest to read the decree and to wait for things to start.
Yeah.
The applications will be evaluated on a case by case. In a case by case way. So apply and see what the Bank of Italy tells you about accessing the sandbox.
Awesome. So yeah, here I can see that they give alternative criteria whenever it comes to financial or insurance law, probably. So as you say, they're gonna basically try to push businesses in the space that play essentially with looser rules. Obviously, that would be, I believe, in a controlled environment. I agree with you. It's definitely worth looking and reading into that, because that can definitely unlock a lot of the fintech space, a lot of companies in the fintech space for sure.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, Nicola, we hit almost the 30-minute mark. If you want to go back to some specific deals the other one is about the agritech, the Lympha Ventures, which is a very, very interesting sort of VC collaboration with Italia Investimenti, SGR, and I was reading about it. It's a very, very interesting project. So Lympha Venture basically in the future of agritech in Italy, and they are doing it in conjunction with a more traditional sort of private equity firm, private equity SGR. But I thought it was something that probably Italy needs, just getting an extra push on the agricultural space, because it's Italy there's still a lot of agriculture. Being it good or bad, it's still here, and nothing is going to change about it. So bringing you tech on that's definitely something worth looking into.
That's true. In this case, we have an interview with Marco Gaiani on Ilaria Cavalleri blog. She writes in English, and almost every Monday, she publishes a new blog post. So follow her blog, because it's a way to have an open window on the Italian market.